main card of the UFC Fight Night Paris. Ciryl Gunn versus Tuivasa, main card version. First fight on the main card was... I mean, these two are the best, aren't they? If you see their names, you know it's going to be the best. Double brilliant. Didn't Charles Jourdain versus Nathaniel, the prospect... Nathaniel, new version, like dust on. Nathaniel, the prospect would, right? Didn't he have a fight the other day, Charles Jourdain?
Yeah, it was against Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos, and I thought I wouldn't say he got robbed in that fight, but he at least deserved a draw, in my opinion. But yeah, he lost the decision to Shane Burgos, didn't he? I think we had a chat about it. I kind of struggled to get my head around that, how he actually lost that decision. Yeah. But he lost to Burgos, and Burgos is... Burgos was, ranked and certainly a good fighter. So the fact that Nathaniel Wood won this fight is, a real feather in his cap.
Yeah, 100%.
I honestly thought Nathaniel Wood's going to lose this, not because I think he's not through a lack of skill, but he just seems to, he's overly aggressive sometimes, and he gets clipped on the feet sometimes, walks into punches and stuff. And I just thought against Jourdain, eventually he's going to walk into something. But Nathaniel Wood was brilliant this fight. Trips, throws.
He's amazing.
Bit of wrestling, bit of ground and pound, brilliant striking. His striking I always think is brilliant anyway. But like I said, I just think sometimes he's a bit like his coach, right? Brad Pickett, an aggressive guy. Certainly puts his chin out there, sort of sometimes takes one to land one, that kind of
amazing
swashbuckling style. And I just thought against Jourdain, it would cost him. And it didn't. Jourdain usually comes on very strong later in his fights. And Nathaniel Wood had him wilting. And, he caused the opposite reaction. Towards the end, to me, Jourdain was just getting mauled a little bit. And...
he was kind of doing what he wanted, wasn't he? With him, really.
Yeah. It's like sometimes it's like, I'll trip you up. Yeah, now I'll take you down. With another way. He said he don't like doing double legs because it takes too much energy. But he just like mixing it up and having his way with him is the truth. Which, like I say, I thought Jourdain usually in his fights round threes when he comes on strong, he's had a couple of late finishes or big rallying third rounds and stuff, but not in this one. Nathaniel Wood just honestly. To point for a better term, beat him up. How about that?
He did beat him up.
Yeah.
I also thought, we're both done by both these, but I also thought Wood would probably get done because of long rangey, very dynamic.
Yeah.
But he wore him down.
I thought he'd walk into a knee or an elbow at some stage, and it would just do a lot of damage. And I think he did walk into a straight right hand or a straight shot or something in the first round. Wood. After that. I was watching it going, he's in complete control at this fight.
Brilliant. Yeah, he was, yeah.
Brilliant performance. I think he's brilliant, Nathaniel Wood, anyway.
Amazing.
There was the card recently, what was the London card, and the fight was amazing, and he didn't get any performance of the night reward in that card. I was like, he's fighting. It was against Charles Rosa. That's it.
Oh, bloody brilliant. He smashed Rosa's teeth out.
Yeah, and what a brilliant fight. And he
booted his leg away from him, smashed him in the face. It was absolute powers.
I couldn't believe he didn't get a bonus. Can't believe he didn't get a bonus for that fight because that performance was amazing as well. So I think he said that this was his first fight at featherweight. Usually fights at bantam. And honestly, to me, that beating Jourdain, it almost warrants him now getting sort of a top 15 sort of guy. Someone hovering around 14, 15, and that sort of touch. Because Jourdain arguably defeated Burgos recently, and Burgos was ranked or close to being ranked. So, yeah.
What's the deal with the new weight class then? What's that all about?
That I don't know. Maybe he's got tired of cutting weight, perhaps. I didn't see anything about it. But I was surprised to see him, fighting at a new weight class. But he looked great in it. Maybe...
He did look amazing, but he's looked amazing in all these fights, is the truth. I think he's bloody brilliant. He is the same as Pickett. He's amazing.
He is, yeah.
He
is, yeah. Well, he's our mate, isn't he? We've had a
he is our mate, yeah. One of the best blokes.
Yeah, we don't know it, but he is our mate. And
exactly.
Yeah. So Nathaniel, I actually like Nathaniel. You know, when I hear him chat and stuff like that, as well,
Yeah.
I actually like him, Arnold Allen. I like both those guys. To me,
Yeah, same here.
they're kind of like the same bloke. You know, they're both brilliant. I like them both. Brilliant. Two really good English fighters.
They are amazing. Like you say, brilliant chats as well. Look, that don't mean we don't like Jourdain. Maybe, I don't know why he came back so quick. I swear his fight was only the other day.
It was recent, yeah, and it was a hell of a pace as well, that Burgos fight.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was a real, you know, I'll do a classic on it, a slobber knocker. But it happened mid-July, so he's had, August? Yeah, I mean, there you go, August, and so he had all of August, a couple of weeks left in July, so it was probably about 6-7 weeks ago that he had that fight. So,
oh, hell. Yeah, maybe he wanted to get back in there, get a win under his fingers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't work out. I think that was a hell of a pace he had in that Burgos fight, and probably been best served just leaving it another month or so. I think, on reflection. But that's not to say that if he left it a month, the result would have been different. Because let's be honest, it didn't look like outside of a big shot he had much for Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood, like I say, just beat him up really.
Yeah, brilliant.
What
happened in that fight? Nathaniel Wood beat up Charles Jourdain. Yeah, okay.
That's it. Yeah.
It's good then, isn't it? Because it means it's a good fight. Next one then. William Jaguar Gomis versus Jarno Errens. What about his tat on that chest? What's that? Another big, massive, just wings?
I actually commented on this at the time. The chest one leaves me less cause for concern than the one going across his stomach. Which I'm assuming.
What's the one down his stomach? Is that his name? Is it?
Yeah, probably says Errens, doesn't it?
Probably says Errens. I mean,
yeah,
that's
you can't see at the moment. It's just a stencil, isn't it? But the thing is, he looks.
He might be redoing it, getting it done.
Yeah, well, you might be getting it coloured in, at a late stage. But I mean, to me, I looked at him. I was like, he's a cool looking dude, and then I saw that tattoo, and I went, you know.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. What about? Was it?
If he likes it, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. What was it saying? The wings.
Oh, does it say something? Does it?
Yeah. Can you? What you have to try and do is go to the bottom right of the picture of us, and then you make it full screen on your screen. It means you can see it more, but I can't read it.
I thought it said live. And
live. Yeah. Live. Good one. Yeah.
And it looks like on the other side, it's something like pride.
Yeah, and like a K in the middle or something. Live.
I'll look it up. You talk about the fight, and I'll look it up on.
I can't talk about the fight. I can't remember it. I think it was boring. I might have fast forwarded it.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like this fight. I mean, I actually think both of them were decent. I liked. I thought Errens was quite good. You know, his fist and his boxing and striking was not too bad, but he started getting taken down, didn't he? He started getting taken down in rounds 2 and 3, and that's what kind of made it a little bit of a lethargic affair in the end, because there didn't seem to be any sort of threat of submission or anything like this, and it just kind of, there wasn't, you know, big ground and pound that you were kind of going oof about either. It just kind of petered out into nothing. First round was actually quite entertaining. I think that you know, it was quite a good matchup, both quite evenly matched, but yeah, it just sort of, with those takedowns and lack of threat on top, it just kind of developed into nothing. It didn't look like Errens could really stop the takedown or get back to his feet. So
the only thing I really remember noticing is that the Gomez Jaguar bloke had a bit of a strange, very narrow stance.
I also saw this. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was times where I honestly thought he looked like he didn't know how to fight because his feet.
Yeah. When I saw the stance, I went, "What?" Yeah. From the stance, it's not a fighting stance. Yeah.
Yeah, but then he actually started coming out with some pretty, you know, snappy kicks. You know, he had some good little spite and nip on those kicks. And I just thought, well, he certainly knows what he's doing. But just
coming to it. Yeah.
There were certain times where I saw him in his stance like that.
They're almost like together, like.
Yeah. You could just push him over.
Yeah, they weren't like, you know, they were really, yeah.
Yeah.
Strange.
It was bizarre, yeah. But
I thought he looks all right and all.
Yeah,
But
I thought Errens looked all right as well, but he looks like he needs someone who's not grapple heavy to start with.
You definitely look better now than when we started. I can't see you.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
It says, I'm sure it says on his chest. Well, I can see it, and it says live to pride.
Live to pride.
No, live to ride. Live to ride.
Oh, he's motorbike bloke.
Motorbikes, yeah, or something like that. Yeah, live to ride. Live to pride. But I see why I thought it was live to pride, but yeah, it's live to ride.
Live to ride. All right. He's, and the wings of the freedom.
That's right, yeah. I don't
wings.
Chest tattoo, not got too big an issue with. I wouldn't get it personally, as you know, I'll get David Brent, but
with the guitar version.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But the stomach, yeah.
Yeah.
Never understood why people get their name tattooed on themselves.
What about that hoodie you used to walk around in? Right. What a tattoo was it?
Yeah, it weren't my name either.
Well, yes, it was. It was your initials.
That's not my name, is it?
Yes.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not your. It's just two letters. My name isn't DY, is it? For example, my name isn't BS or AT or anything like that. My name would be Anthony Thompson or BS Billy.
Well, I knew what those letters meant.
Yeah, but that's because you know my name. Anyway, it's not tattooed, is it? It's on a team. Football coaches have their initials on their tops.
So, okay, all right, fair enough. All right, well, are you finished with that fight?
I have.
Okay. Alessio Manzo di Chirico versus Roman Kopylov. Shame this, isn't it? Because di Chirico got done, and we love him.
Yeah, we like Chirico. I mean, there he actually he does look like some sort of Roman emperor there, doesn't he? You know, his face is brilliant. But yeah, I thought he'd done okay in this fight. But
yeah,
I did. I think since he's retired. So I think since.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think since he's.
We're gonna have to go through his moments.
I saw an Instagram post, so yeah, I think he's retired.
Damn it.
But yeah, I thought he looked all right.
Yeah, same. Yeah, he always does.
He does, yeah. But I think when he lost this fight, I think he was giving it a bit of bravado. You know, when he dropped his hands, I think it was a little bit of he got caught with I can't remember if it was a kick or a punch, and he kind of dropped his hands as if to say, like, you know, yeah, big deal. You know,
I did notice the dropping hands. I wasn't sure.
And he
why.
Didn't. Yeah, I don't think he dropped his hands because he didn't know where he was or he'd got rocked that badly. I do think it was a bit of bravado. You know, like sometimes if you get caught, you might smile or, you know, do that. Or,
name another one. You didn't allow me to do it earlier. When
Paulo Costa, he does it a lot of the time. You know, if he gets kicked in the side, he goes like that, doesn't he? And
I've got one.
Go on.
Rashad up against the cage with Lyoto Machida.
That's the famous one.
Because he pulls his cup up, doesn't he? Like his sack, as if to say, like, yeah, big deal. Is that it? Is that all you've got? And then ends up smashed.
Yeah, that is the ultimate one. There have been some other ones as well, some famous ones where people have been taunting and stuff like that, and then out. So
yeah, I mean, it's a shame. I definitely wouldn't have wanted him to retire. I mean, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
he's actually good
in the middleweight division as well. You know, he's but maybe understand that it's a hard way to earn a living. And if you really feel like you've given all you can give and you're not breaking, say, the top 15 or the top 10, and you don't feel like you can make it to the top, are you really going to want, unless you're sort of someone who just loves a tear up, are you really going to want to carry on doing this for a living?
Wow. I mean, look, that's what Gustafsson said. He said, I got into this to be the best. To be the best means champ, belt, etc., etc. That's what I got into this for. And when he did the retiring the first time, because I'm sure it's been a couple of times now, he said, maybe it has only been once and he's just come back and got done. But what he said was, and I loved it, he went, and as I don't feel like I can get there, it's pointless. So I'm banning it. Obviously, then he went home, had to think about it, came back, And I believe he's had 2 fights, and he come back and he's got done in both.
I think it's more than that, isn't it? Didn't he
Heavyweight ones, isn't it?
Yeah, he done the whole heavyweight thing, and that. Honestly, I actually thought he looked good at heavyweight. You know, he looked way more nimble and fast than the other heavyweights, but it just seems that he's punch resistance or whatever those John Jones fights just seems to have took so much out of him. It's a real shame, isn't it? That because
it is. Gareth said he was going to be champ. You remember? He got close with the John Jones.
That was the curse. At that point, he should have known it was over. But
I was thinking Gareth done him.
Yeah, he lost to John Jones, and then after that, lost to Anthony Smith, then lost to Fabrizio Verdum, and then recently lost to Krylov.
Well, all right. Well, you know, Krylov is absolute powers, I think. Is Krylov the bloke who kicked off Manoa's head?
No, that's Rakic, Alexander Rakic.
Yeah, that. Right.
But Krylov is Krylov's decent. He's good, but he is the kind of guy that sort of 5 or so years ago, Gustafsson was, you know, I don't want to say running rings round, but you know, he would have been, you know, beating guys like that, right? Remember, you know, Gustafsson had a great record at light heavyweight. But I guess, you know, Father Time waits for no man. So that's that.
All right. Well, look, let's just stick to this fight quickly. Look, I didn't know he'd retired, so sorry to hear that. Alessio, both fans of yours, both think you're brilliant. Happy to see you in there. But I did like your comment. A hard way to make a living. I like that. You know, we don't know why. I ain't heard any interviews or anything yet, and I'm sure I will. But yeah, that is a shame. This Roman Kopylov, what are we saying? Any good?
He's all right, yeah. He's like a Russian Ben Askren to look at, obviously not actually fighting.
No, he's like that other kid.
Or a Russian Chase Hooper, yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
Chase Hooper, yeah, that one, yeah.
But yeah, obviously not fighting style wise. But yeah, I think he's all right. I'm not going to get too over enthusiastic. I didn't watch this performance and go, wow, this guy's a future contender or anything. But yeah.
He was good though. He beat someone good who looked good as well on the night. It weren't like he looked crap. So yeah.
Yeah, and got a good finish. I think it's kind of peculiar that he said in his after-fight interview, and I don't know if it got misinterpreted, but he said sort of like, he felt like he had to go out and get the finish. I was like, you were 2 rounds up, in my opinion, 2 rounds up and heading for a 30-27 sweep. But maybe he felt that the fight weren't going to plan and whatnot. But yeah.
Maybe he wanted to make his mark, garner some attention.
No, he did. But not enough for us to keep talking about it.
Correct. That's why I'm moving on to the next fight, which is Nassourdine Imavov versus Joaquin Buckley. Yeah, good point about Buckley. He's always having a bloody smash up, ain't he, him?
Hey, I really like him loads.
Yeah, he's bloody brilliant, isn't he? And this was another fight where he just went, I think I know I'm losing this fight and I'm going to do something about it. And that didn't work. He still lost it. But I do love the fact that this bloke, he's just a no give up, always going to swing and smash your face in. He's good. He's good. But this Imavov, Nassourdine bloke, he's slick, isn't he?
Yeah. Right, next fight. Yeah, no, I do think, Imavov is. I do think he's good. Like I say, he's got nice. Reminds me a little bit of someone like Gegard Mousasi, someone like that. You know, he reminds me of that. You know, in his fighting style, I guess even in his looks. Now that I'm looking at the picture, I meant in his fighting style. You know, he's kind of quite languid, relaxed, but you know, good skills and I think he's good. I think with Buckley, I don't know if you feel the same, but I almost feel like the fact that they've kind of taken a bit of so they've kind of polished him a bit, and they've taken a bit of recklessness out of his fighting style, and I think that's his detriment, because in round 3 he fought a little bit like the Buckley that came in and fought Kevin Holland, you know, and was just swinging for the bleachers and stuff like that.
He did, but
I thought that was the best round he had. And if you remember his last performance, I can't remember who his last fight was against. Let me see
if I can get it. Wait, let me see if I can get it. I can't.
No, you can't. It was Was it Albert Juraev?
Right. Like I said, I can't.
No, maybe it's the Razak Al Hassan fight I'm thinking of. Anyway, regardless, there was a fight recently where I watched him. I just went, he seems to have, I don't want to say lost that killer instinct.
There was one where he was very reserved and trying to be overly technical,
exactly,
and take his time and pick his shots. That
skirting around the side of the cage. I was like, this ain't the guy that came in and fought Kevin on. He was ducking, bobbing. To me, he was like a little Mike Tyson that came in. I was like, this guy's fantastic. And he seems to have lost that a little bit. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. It's probably better to have a little bit more of a conservative and thoughtful fighting style. Than
You've got to balance it out, haven't you? And he's still learning, you know. So
I think the balance is just maybe where it was like this before, it's been switched a little bit like that. And let's just find something a bit more happening. Round 3, I think he was giving, I'm not saying Imavov was worried. I'm not saying he was ever hurt. But I think he was definitely giving him a bit more cause for concern in round 3 when he was swinging.
Giving him stuff to think about.
Yeah, and thinking, you know, if I get clipped by one of these big hooks, it could be good night. I definitely think, to me, Buckley got round 3. And, I just think it maybe that balance of his fighting style has just been altered slightly and it needs to be realigned a bit. And the reason why I like him a lot is, I mean, I heard a little while back that he's been to a few gyms before, and I remember there was that little bit of beef with James Krause, and people were like, "Oh, Buckley's got a bit of an attitude problem." I was like, every time I see him, I just think this guy's got an amazing attitude. When he got knocked out by Chirico, he was amazing afterwards. He wasn't like bitter or salty or storm out the ring. He was wicked. He was amazing.
Yeah, he was good.
And this time, I was like, he was in the corner, and that guy gave him the sort of the Leon Edwards style speech. You know, come on, get up. You know, you can still do this. And I loved it because Buckley just went, F it, and stood up and put his gum shield in and was like, that's it, I'm going to go out and smash this guy. And he did. He didn't just try for the first 30 seconds and then go, oh, I can't catch him, and then give up again. The whole 5 minutes, he was like, I'm going to get this guy, I'm going to get this guy. And it's only when the bell went.
I've got to get him, about 5 minutes,
Yeah, honestly, Buckley, I think he's brilliant. Really fantastic. I like the guy and everything.
Yeah, he's brilliant, right? But he's learning, and what he needs to do, and obviously I'll become his coach for the day. What he needs to do is know when to switch the old version on, the balance, right? Yeah. Because, like you say, he was here, and now he's here. But there's plenty of times, and that fight that irritated us a little bit, maybe that's not the right word, but the fight we're both talking about, where you saw the switch, there were plenty of times where he could have switched them winging powers hooks on, and he still didn't, and that's all he needs to do is just go, right, now's the time to switch that on. Round 5, he knew he had the energy, the gas tank to go out there and go mad. I think he's fantastic and all. Absolutely brilliant. Everything brilliant. And I think the grief he was getting is he went to not a fight camp place. He went to a bloke who does military weird stuff that not a lot of people, but some people say his techniques aren't real and this, that, and the other. And like a bloke who. Oh no, I know the guy you're talking about. No, it was before that he. Because I like those chats as well. That he went and learned some sort of stuff off of this.
There's loads of memes.
A saviour bloke, a bloke who saves victims and stuff.
Yeah, like that. I know who you're talking. It's a guy with a moustache. He's actually been in somebody's corner for one of their fights. I can't remember.
I think he's brilliant. Yeah.
But he's the guy that always if someone comes along and points a gun at you here, you just go.
That's him.
Turn around on him. That's him. And the people do loads of memes where they're like they practice it and then they just end up in heaven because obviously it doesn't work. But
Buckley didn't. He said, "No, I learned stuff. I went there and learned stuff from him."
I remember him going there.
So he's amazing. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Trying stuff out.
Every time I've seen him, I've gone, this guy's attitude is the best. But just look,
every interview I've heard of lights,
don't know what's happened behind closed doors or in the past, or maybe he's matured, or I don't really know. Honestly, I don't really care either. Some people just don't get on with others. Whatever, I'm not interested in that. All I know is what I see. I think he's brilliant. That's all there is to it. And he's got a lot of it, but knowing Buckley will be back having another smash in, before the year's out, and put someone on their backside. So
who he reminds me of, as in the progression of his career and his different fighting methods and he's learning. He reminds me of Khalil Roundtree.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, a guy that's behind closed doors gradually changed his style and picked from a lot of different places, and it seems to benefit him. So I think he's brilliant.
I think,
Brilliant bloke.
maybe Roundtree's a bit further through that progression, right? Because saw in his last fight when he switched on that violence, when he stopped that guy, one of the most brutal finishes I've ever seen. And so he seems to have found a good sort of balance for that. And yeah, maybe Buckley, like I say, look, what do we know?
It's coming. I don't look like he's giving up or not fighting or anything like that. It's coming.
Yeah. I think he will crack the top 10 and everything eventually.
He's quite he's good. So
anyway, that's enough Buckley loving because he lost, right? So he lost, but
he did.
Imavov is decent. He's a top 10 guy for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But
who he reminds me of? Oh, for flip's sake! Right, next fight.
Right, next.
No, I was going to say Rachmanov, but I thought no, I'll move on to the next fight. But that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm just drawing parallels. The next fight is the co-main event, I believe. Robert the Reaper Whittaker versus the other Italian on the card, Marvin. Well, he's the Italian dream, Vettori.
This was a little bit like Hack-Parast Makdessi, but middleweight.
It was. Now, there's a good parallel for you, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think we like both these guys, even though Vettori and I thought he had a decent first round, Vettori. But one thing I will say is Whittaker probably has one of the best fight IQs, I think, going, because quite a few fights now he's had slightly ropey first round where he's maybe lost it, the other person's nicked it. But he always seems to find a way to win rounds 2 and 3. And even against Adesanya, right, didn't have a great first round in the rematch, I don't think it was. But he kind of figured Adesanya out, and arguably, for some people, he nicked that fight. So I think he's obviously got really good fight IQ. This just weren't particularly an exciting fight. I don't think Whittaker's got the most exciting style. If people are gonna call out Adesanya for having a few boring fights, Whittaker the same. I mean, I think Whittaker's great. I'm just saying that he's not. His last few fights not been the most exciting.
They ain't and they've all a bit like Makdessi. They're all the same.
Yeah, he sort of just finds a way to outthink people, outstrike people. It's not outstrike people in a devastating way where it's like, I figured you out and now I'm going to boot your head off. I mean, he does boot people in the head and he does land good strikes, but he's not, he doesn't throw many combinations, I don't find. He doesn't throw like bang, 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 bang. It's kind of, he picks people off, doesn't he? Picks people off, counter punches people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, some of his performances haven't been the most exciting, but again, we just talked about... Go on.
Something like that in the post-fight interview that he gives everyone grief. He said, what he said before, that fight with him and Darren Till, and they both said it was the most stressful fight. Both of them said it, that they've had, because they were both on edge constantly. He used words to that effect at the end of this fight and said, look, I'm everyone's nightmare because I make them work, or something like that. That.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
I think
true, yeah.
He's got that good fight IQ where he sort of almost freezes opponents in a way where they're like, well, I don't want to throw anything. So if I throw this, then I get caught with this. If I throw this, then I get caught with that, and that kind of thing. And so he's just, I mean, if you look at, just looking here, I mean, he's, what an amazing run he's on. He's had, since 2014, right? Middle of 2014. So over 8 years. He's got I'm going to do the counting thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 wins, 2 losses. Right. And those 2 losses are against Adesanya. Oh, that's amazing.
And it was a good matchup, as in these are the 2 blokes that have had 2 fights against Adesanya and lost both fights, and now they fight each other. So I think it was a good idea for a matchup, and Whittaker came out on top on that one and all.
Yeah, no, it kind of panned out the way I expected it to pan out. But I mean, he had the 2 Yoel Romero fights, which were both amazing. Then he lost to Adesanya. And then since then, it's been Till, Cannonier, Gastelum, and Vettori decisions with the Adesanya loss mixed in there as well.
Right.
Each of those 4 wins, right, are against real top contenders. But all of them, I have to say, were... I know some people will sit there and go, from a technical point of view, this was a masterclass and an amazing fight, and I don't doubt it. But just from a drunken, just bleed, kind of fan perspective, they haven't been the most exciting, spectacle.
And funnily enough, though, and strangely enough, you are not a drunken, just bleed type of bloke. Not just a bloke, but you also don't like really that kind of fight, unless it's Rockhold and what's his name, Paulo Costa. Yeah, it's not really your thing. Yet, you can see that this is a technical thing. But look, at the end of the day, it weren't that interesting, exciting, and it weren't. No. But for those 2 blokes in there, I can imagine that it was absolute grief the whole way. I can imagine.
Yeah. And
I can't imagine it actually myself, but I do understand that principle that Vettori probably was constantly thinking, how do I do this bloke? I can kind of beat him up, but I can't. And Whittaker was constantly probably going, I'm winning here, just got to keep this bloke off me. You can see that it's constant. It must be well tiring that on the on the brain.
It's one of those things that I think with Whittaker, it's one of those things that he figures people out, and then if you throw a jab, he's got a counter for it, and eventually you go, right, well, I can't throw a jab because I don't know, he throws a lead hook over the top of my jab or something, and then whatever, and it gets to a point where he just shuts the opponent down. But he's not someone who's then going to go, I'm now going to take the extra risk and go and smash his face in and stop him. He's like, I'm happy to. He even said in the after-fight interview, didn't he, that he's happy to, if you can get someone down on their back for 25 minutes and hold them there and get the win, then you will do. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. That is what you have to do. But I'm just saying, from an entertainment perspective, his last few fights haven't really got my juices flowing, including the Adesanya one. None of them really. No. He's not a volume guy. Like I say, he doesn't throw combinations, this, that, and the other. He just sort of.
No, he's like a bit more of a point striker karate bloke, really.
Yeah, he wins the individual point striking sort of battle, and that kind of wins the fight for him. And he's amazing at it. I mean, look at his record. Like I say, 13 out of 15 wins, 2014, only losses against the champ, and one of those is a contested loss. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I never thought when I saw him on that Ultimate Fight series, we thought he was amazing. Then we thought he was really good.
Oh, Australia versus UK, was that?
Yeah, he knocked out Darren Newman or whatever his name was and stuff like that. Never thought he would have been this successful, though. Especially, at welterweight, he got beaten by Stephen Thompson and people like that. Never thought he'd go up to middleweight and do what he's done. But,
no.
But yeah,
look, I always the thing that surprises me about Whittaker. I mean, he hasn't retired, so we should be doing this chat with Chirico. But especially after all the bumhole stuff, where he got done injured and he was getting smashed up from that. I just thought, losing the belt and everything. Like operation up there and all that. There was a fight where he's basically there on the night or whatever, and they just went, no, he needs emergency surgery, and it was, I guess, colon-y type thing or something like that. Right. And it always made me think that it sounded serious enough, and his position where he was always the number one contender and just couldn't get rid of the champ, to kind of make him go, that's all good, I've got plenty of money and family's all set up. I mean, I don't know his situation, but he seems to chat like that I'd think he'd go, forget it. And there was one point where he did say that, and ever since he's come back from that and went, I've really, learned to fall in love, back in love with it again and all that, I am surprised that, like you said, hard way to make a living for someone who's done it. He's done that. Gustafsson admittedly went, I ain't done it and I don't think I can do it now, so forget it, right? This guy has done it, so he can just go, forget it. And he ain't. He's still coming back. And he said in the post-fight interview, didn't he? Like, I'm still there or whatever. I keep bringing me blokes. I'm still going to do them, and I'm right there. I keep fighting. I'll eventually get to the belt again. Can't argue with that. He's fighting and winning. You get to the belt again.
I don't see how you can deny him another title shot. The second, if he got waxed in the second fight as well, like he did in the first, I'd go, yeah, it's a hard sell. He didn't, right? It was a 50-50 fight. And he can also make the claim, look at the improvement from the first fight to the second fight. Now the third fight, I'm definitely, got the final piece of the jigsaw. You can definitely make that claim. It's kind of a hard sell. I don't think there's really that many people outside of, his fellow countrymen and stuff like that are really going to be that hyped for that fight. But I don't see how you can deny it. Because
okay. Well, speaking of those chats, let's not go mad because in the name of trying to keep things as short as we possibly can, what's the next fight for Whittaker then? You've got the Yada Yayas, Yada blokes on. And what are you going to do with Whitters then? Are you saying he should get Yada Sanyas or has he got to do something else? And then same for Vettori. Or is Vettori doing a cheap D Chiricos, going off and having pizza and pasta and it's Italy with him, going to see Errens in Rome?
Okay, well, I would say that you've obviously got Pereira versus Adesanya. A lot hinges on what happens there, right? If Pereira beats Adesanya, and let's just say we don't go down the rematch route, although let's
do that, yeah.
But if Pereira wins, then it's undeniable that Whittaker gets the next shot. If Adesanya, if Adesanya wins, I think you can't make any fight other than Whittaker. Because you look at the people beneath him, Cannonier, Vettori, Pereira. Obviously, Pereira will have been beaten by Adesanya. Vettori, he's just done. He's beat Cannonier before. Brunson, he's beaten Brunson before, I believe. Paulo Costa, Sean Strickland. So forget it. After that, just forget it. So to me, if Adesanya beats Pereira outside of something weird where people will clamour to see a rematch, I'd go, you have to make Whittaker Adesanya 3. If Pereira beats Adesanya, I think you'll probably see a rematch, in which case Whittaker might have to take another fight. Honestly, who's he going to fight? I think maybe Paulo Costa. Maybe. Outside of that, who else? Who else can he fight? Like I say,
he ain't had a fight with him, has he? That's the only bloke.
He's beaten Brunson, he's beaten Cannonier, he's beaten Vettori. After that, you're looking at Cannonier, Vettori, Pereira obviously will have been beaten. He's beaten Brunson. So yeah, next person would be Paulo Costa, Sean Strickland, Jack Manson. I mean, he shouldn't be fighting Strickland, Manson. Till he's beaten for, Muniz, Gastelum, he's beaten for. So you can't really look any lower than that. To me, it would have to be a Paulo Costa fight. As sort of an in-between, or wait for the rematch Adesanya Pereira and get the winner of that. But
let's say there ain't a rematch, or there is a rematch, and then Pereira wins again. As example, then is it all right for Whitters to have a smash with Pereira?
Yeah, of course, 100%.
Got to be in it.
That'd be the only fight to make.
And what about Vettori? What's happening? Because he's done loads of blokes and all.
He has, yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe
tough spot, as they say. You know what I mean?
It is a tough spot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let me have a quick look. Maybe has he fought this guy? He's fought Hermansson. He's beaten Kevin Holland. Beaten Costa. Yeah, difficult one. Maybe someone like a Brunson. That'd be a good little fight, don't you think?
Yeah.
Be a nice little fight for Brunson.
I'd be interested to see what happens.
Job done. Brunson versus Vettori and Whittaker versus the winner.
Either of them.
Yeah. Done. Next.
Easy.
Main
event. This one got fight of the night. They always, not always, but most of the time they give the fight of the night to the main event, don't they? I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm just saying it seems to be a bit of a thing.
Well, I do think this deserved some kind of reward.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Ciryl Bongamin Gun versus Tai Bamban Tuivasa. And, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was brilliant.
It was brilliant, yeah. And Tuivasa is, to me, proved he's one of the, say, top 5 without doubt,
I love the guy. This is a bloke at the start. We were like, what's all this shoey crap and all that? And as you said, it kind of made him a bit more interesting because he had something for you to chat about and something to identify him with, which is always a good thing because he's not allowed to have the shorts, etc., etc. So I do think that is right, and we did grow. It grew on us, that image of him doing that, right?
Yeah.
But the main thing is that he says that I'm going to bring it to him and have a smash. And a lot of the times people say that and they freeze in the moment and don't do that. And that's twice. He's done it in all of his fights, but particularly against Derek Lewis and Ciryl Gane, I'm like, you know what? They're guys where you could have froze a bit and you still didn't. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I think the reason why I said he's definitely worthy of that top 5 slot now is because if you look at his record up until the Derek Lewis win, hasn't really done much to justify being a top 10 guy. Really, Harry Hunsucker, Greg Hardy, and Augusto Sakai. I don't think that really makes him a top of the tree sort of fighter. But his performance against Derek Lewis was amazing. Like I said, lots of people. And when we say lots of people, we mean pretty much everyone who Lewis has fought, whether it be Ngannou or whoever, has kind of frozen against Derek Lewis. Now, what I mean by frozen is they haven't fought their normal, usual fight. They've been extra hesitant, extra cautious. And he just kind of went... it was kind of because Derek Lewis also went in aggressive with him, but he just went all out with it. And I was just... I thought it was an amazing performance, but I thought, you know what, maybe he just got lucky in that. But I saw this fight as well. I was like, people don't do this with Ciryl Gane, this aggressive, this come forward. I mean, floored him and everything. You know what, Tuivasa is the real deal. In a very talent shallow division, he's brilliant. He goes in there, he has a smash, he puts it on the line. He's a bit of a Justin Gaethje of the heavyweight division. And he goes something like that.
Yeah, well, another parallel. Another comparison. The thing is, we know that his skills ain't amazing, but he's just in the right division for that attitude.
Yeah, that attitude.
It gets you a long way, right?
Yeah, the skills he has got. He's got this. It's good. He's really good at faking that. I don't think he's faking it, kind of recoiling that he's really hurt. And then when something...
he did do a good one in this one, yeah.
Awesome, yeah. He does that a few times. And I do think that those kicks were basically what done him in. Those kicks
man. Flipping heck.
I thought he'd have had a lot of protection. Like, it's almost like he's got loads of sponge around these organs to protect him.
Okay, I can attest, right, being of Tuivasa's shape. Yeah. It doesn't help. It might help keep you warm. What you need there is muscle. Where there is no muscle, you get problems. So if you're even a muscle-bound guy who's trained and conditioned to take punches and kicks, people will aim for the solar plexus because there's no muscle there. So there's nothing protecting it. And if you're in that kind of shape, a lot of people, look at the strongest men and all that, can have muscle underneath guts, right? You can have it. But he don't look like he has. So I'm just saying that I know what you're saying, but it kind of just vibrates as opposed to protects anything. And Gunn was good with it as well. He was doubling up on those kicks and stuff, which is brilliant, right? It's good to see when you see Saints working, go to it, and he did. When this is working, front kicks are working, stabbing him in the guts working. That round kick worked to his gut, so I'll just throw another one. He's not defending, he's reacting to it. I'll throw another one. When he got close, he put punches in his face and all that. He was good, wasn't he? I know we've just seen two passes. Brilliant. Again, what we've done that method of taking the loser, Imavov fight. We took the loser, Buckley, and said they're brilliant. And there is something to be said for that, what people show you when they lose or whatever. And I know why we said Tuivasa's brilliant, but now we better move on to the winner because he was brilliant.
He was, yeah. And let's be brutally honest. A hell of a lot of his fights in the UFC have not been the most exciting. And I think he's not lucky, but he had a willing dance partner, let's say, in this fight. Someone who wasn't going to just go on the defensive, wasn't just going to be content to be outstruck from the outside. Someone who was like, no, I'm going to, go out swinging. And it brought the best out of Gane as well. So it was good for him, and it was good because obviously it was the first event in France, and it would have been horrible if they had just like a boring 5-round snooze fest as kind of the debut show. And it's good that the main event was a riotous affair. There was one bit where they sung the French national anthem, the Marseillaise, the crowd. That was amazing. Fun, innit? Because I hear stuff and I go, brilliant. It's kind of. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, and
of course it was. It's the best.
And it just seemed it had a little bit of the echoes of, remember that London card where everybody went mad for it, and whoa, and all this sort of stuff. It kind of had echoes of that a little bit. This was the French version. It was their first event. They got the winners they wanted in the big fights, and it was the main event was really, say if you flipped it around and the Vettori Whittaker fight was the main event, and this was the co-main, the kind of night would have gone out on a bit of a anticlimax because this was the main event, and there's two guys swinging for the bleachers and all that sort of stuff. It was just a nice ending. National anthem, everything brilliant. French went home happy. They got their winner. I was a little bit down because I wanted Tuivasa, but you can't have it all. And the main thing is Nathaniel Wood won. That was if someone said to me, "Who do you want to win on this card? Which one do you guarantee this person's going to win?" I'm going to do your thing of if you had to get a tattoo or someone's going to stick a needle in your neck and say, who do you definitely want to win on this card? Would have been Nathaniel Wood, but after that, probably Tuivasa. No, probably Buckley after that, then Tuivasa.
Buckley.
Yeah, it was good. It went out on a high, really. That event.
It did.
Good performance as well.
And that is good. I mean, I do know the comparisons with the London. Obviously, they ain't quite got the brashness and loudness of the of the British crowd. I mean, they're a bit more nuts or whatever. But the facts are the facts. If you look at, I think mainly that is because if you look at the talent, say from France, they ain't got the pool of fighters like the UK has got, right? So you look at that card, there was a lot of Europeans on it, Sweden, England and stuff like that. So I think a lot of fights fell off that card. So I don't know, maybe there was some other French people on there, but there weren't that many. Saint Denis, there weren't that many French fighters to go mad for. So it's good that the main event did do that, and it kind of works out how they want it. I mean, we know it ain't fixed, we know it ain't set up, but it kind of feels like that. It's like this is how it's meant to have played out, and that is good. Don't always happen, right? Gustafsson, Sweden, that one don't always happen, right?
I went to one of the ones in England, and every British fighter lost. Except for in the end, I think Bisping won against. It was either the Sexy Armor card or someone else. He won in the main event, but before that, Dan Hardy got knocked out by Condit.
I
can't remember because I've been to a couple. There was one where John Hathaway got beaten by Mike Quicksand Pyle, but there was one event where basically every British fighter or every European fighter got done. And it was down to Bisping, and I think he'd done his typical thing of, almost getting knocked out in the first round as well. So everyone was like, geez, this is going to be a really crap night, but he pulled it out of the fire. But yeah, it was a good happy ending.